body intelligence system using over 12,000 health clinics worldwide, now available for your home. The moment I stepped on it and grabbed the handle, it sent safe electrical currents through my entire body, scanning and analyzing my arms, legs, and torso with 98% DEXA accuracy. What I discovered changed everything. While my weight hadn't changed, I'd actually lost 7 pounds of fat and gained 6 pounds of muscle. The body pod measured body fat, muscle mass, water, metabolic age, and 40 other metrics, showing me exactly how my body was responding to different diets, workouts, and routines. No more guesswork or frustrating plateaus, just precise data that showed me exactly where to focus my efforts. Because when you can truly measure everything, you can finally improve everything. That's why top doctors, dietitians, and elite athletes all swear by the body pod for accurate results. So I recommend you get your body pod now while they still have a special discount. That way, you can finally measure and improve the invisible changes that others feel entitled to.
Let's get it. As one first check the one and only Blue Systems. We can check them in for a daily Blue Systems. Start giving you a perspective on teamwork. You will not get anywhere else. We do not teach you how to rise to the occasion here. We teach you how to fall to your level of preparation. Continuing after a solid 10-mile run today. Get to get back out here. A little cooler day. So legs and body was able to withstand. Still, obviously got a lot of sweat in, got a lot out of the 10-mile run today. It's always good to get back into the double-digit days as we move forward to what you're going to think for 2026. All right, so all that being said, let's get into the Top 5 Tuesday. Top 5 Tuesday, and again, as always, I'll do a deeper dive on all of these points. And today's live stream, we're continuing our conversation that we started yesterday and continued throughout the week, which is controlling your lust. Controlling your lust. All of this kind of a response to the catastrophic, we'll say it like that, catastrophic story that hit my Michigan Wolverines. If you don't know, if you're around here, just know I'm a huge Michigan Wolverines fan. So the catastrophic story that hit the airwaves about Coach, I'm not using the title Coach of him anymore. We'll just start calling him Sherrone Moore. But Sherrone Moore was let go with cause because he was getting it on with a staff member, basically owning his assistant in so many words. So again, yesterday I discussed how to control your lust and ask the question, pose the question out there, you're controlling your lust. Today we're going to get into the top 5 ways to control your lust, right? So number one, first things first, is right here doing this stuff, what I'm doing, exercise. Right? Exercise is the number one way in which you can control your lust. Again, we are all adults and we all have the desires and the natural desires to have sex, and, be with somebody and, do all the things that you are kind of forced into, or it's urgent with life. It's just being normal, being a heterosexual, all right, it happens. And the thing that you have to do to control it, the very first thing that you need to be doing to control it is actually exercising and put your body in physical shape. So number one, you're actually good at it, right? You actually have some stamina to keep going. And two, you're not using other people to get these endorphins. You see these endorphins that I speak to you with every single day. These endorphins are something that you can control. You can go out and control how you go and get your endorphins. You don't have to use other people to get the endorphins. So that's number one, is daily exercise. Number two, you have to focus on something that's bigger than you. See, the biggest disappointment when it came to what Sherrone Moore put the players doing. Again, I actually just listened to an interview with the interim head coach, and he was basically saying, hey, a lot of the players feel betrayed, just like a lot of the fan base feels very betrayed by Sherrone Moore, is because he didn't focus on the bigger things than himself, right? The Michigan brand, the Michigan football brand, again, it's the best brand in college football. This is why it's such a big story, is for you to disrespect it the way you disrespected it without regard. Again, like I said yesterday, it's not a problem that he was voting his assistant. The problem was he was lying about it. The problem was he betrayed his family, and he did not break things off with his family and then decide that he was going to do it in the betterment's understanding that you need to be an example. And then the last point, I'll get into this later, but he obviously didn't use protection, right? I really didn't use protection. So number two is you got to focus on something bigger than yourself. Number three, never let sex become monotonous. All right, never let sex become monotonous. And I tell the story all the time. I use the example of tying your shoe, putting your clothes on, brushing your teeth. If sex starts to feel like that, if the it starts to become that monotonous, then you've got a problem. Again, I've been there with multiple women. It is not a fun feeling for sex to just become a monotonous thing that you're doing every single day, and there's no value in it. You're showing no respect. No, you're taking for granted the person you're doing it with. It is absolutely hell to be in that place with a significant other, to be in that place with the opposite sex, to where it is absolutely just routine. It fucking it's again working on my credit, but it sucks. It's the worst feeling in the world, right? Number four, you gotta. Where was I? So one was daily exercise. Two was I get really wrapped up with this point. So one was daily exercise. Two was focus on something bigger than yourself. Three was never let it become monotonous. And number four, you have to be very honest. All right, honesty is the biggest thing. You have to be a reality in terms of who you actually are attracted to, and you're not just doing it to do it. This is important. There's an important part here because it's going to lead you to doing more of number one, which is getting yourself in physical shape and keeping your body right so that you can be someone that is attractive and people want to have sex with. All right, that is important. Again, you see how all of these tie in. So one, again, you got a daily exercise. Two, you have got to make sure you're focusing on something bigger than yourself. Three, you can't let sex become monotonous. And number four, you got to be incredibly, incredibly honest. And finally, number five, if you do slip up, if there's a night where you slip up, you drink too much, you're around the wrong people, and then life happens, life starts life in, use some damn protection. Use some protection, and make sure you keep yourself safe and you don't make a habit of it. All right, it's important that you at least, again, if you're living your life 1 through 4, when you slip, times I've slipped up in my own life, hey, I've had 1 through 4 as the foundation to not make it something that becomes a habit and it ruins my life, right? So again, I'll do a deeper dive on all of these points, but just to recap, number one, top five ways to control your lust. Number one, my mouth is dry. All right, number one, daily exercise. Number two, focus on something bigger than yourself. Number three, do not let sex become monotonous. Number four, got to be very honest. And number five, use some damn protection if you are going to slip up, right? So all that being said, main website to check out the deep into all my work MakeYamooPE.com. One-stop shop for your teamwork and your self-development needs. As one crochet, you want to only Move Swiftly speaker. Check it out. You guys can do it Swiftly. We'll talk about it. Have that down pack. That was Move Swiftly Thought 1,464. You can do the math. That is, let me do the math for you all because I do a daily Move Swiftly Thought. You take 1,000. Let's do it. Let's do the math real quick. You take. Let's clear it out. You take 1,464. You divide that by 365. 4 years. 4 years. I should know that, right? 4 years of daily Move Swiftly thoughts every single day, right after a run, capturing those endorphins, consistency, showing up. This is what we do over here in the Move Swiftly world. So be sure you like, comment, subscribe, share this out. If you're new around here, let me just reintroduce myself to anybody that is new around here. As one Crookshank. I am your one and only Move Swiftly speaker, former Division I college football player, current 6, you heard correctly, 6-time published author and educator. The whole brand, the whole concept, what it's all about is taking the innovative teamwork lessons that you learn on the football field and aligning them with businesses and business owners so they have a staff and/or a group of employees that moves as efficiently as a championship high school or youth football team. As you can see, I built this business based on what I learned as a football player, coach, scout that played at the collegiate level. Also, being a diehard Michigan fan, again, you heard me correctly in today's Move Swiftly Thought. The best college football team, best college football team and best college football brand, period, of all the teams is the Michigan Wolverines. We're the most winningest program, and I've been a fan since I was a kid. A kid, a team that I played the game, was never actually good enough to play there as a player. All right, there's a sense there where you understand what every college football player goes through, and then you also understand the business side of it. You understand what this whole story, everything that has come out in the past couple of days in terms of Sherrone Moore. Again, we're not using the title coach with him anymore. What Sherrone Moore has done to the program in terms of what the disappointment and all that kind of stuff. It is all a lust thing. All right, the lust thing. So I have to be, I had to be all over this story. I had to talk about it. Talked about it the day after, talked about it yesterday, and I'm gonna kind of put a bow on it by leaving you guys today with a top five ways. Every Tuesday we do a top five around here, but today we're doing it in specifically around lust. All right, lust. Actually, before I go too far, in terms of what we're going to talk about, again, if you're interested in employee development, all things employee development, go to makeyourmove.com, makeymove.com. All the information that you may need to learn about me is right here. You can shop. Be sure to pick up or get on the list for a copy of my new book, which is How to Be a Entrepreneur. Right now, it's only It's going to be $20 now. As the print is ready, obviously the price is going to go up. So make sure you get in right now when it's only 20. And it will be a compilation of all the articles that I write here on Medium.com. As you can see, there's well over 400 articles on Medium.com. Again, all of them won't be there. Yes, we have 430 articles on Medium.com, and all of them won't be in the book, but it's all going to be in dedication. So I wrote this now. From book number 1 to book number 6, something called ChatGPT is available. So I wrote this now specifically so I can have you guys as business owners that have decided are going to invest in employee development, want to invest in professional employee development, which is where I land. I wrote this specifically for you all to have a person, not just a book, but have someone specifically that you can latch onto, a system that you can latch onto that'll make it so it'll solve all of your turnover problems, all the problems that you have when it comes to your business not keeping and maintaining the right people. We will be solving all of those with this new book in terms of how to teach people how to be a wintrepreneur, what exactly being a wintrepreneur entails. All right. A large part of developing a staff and developing an organization is laying down some solid groundwork. Right? So before I go there again, Wintrepreneur, it's right here on makeyourmove.com. So you get a copy, and I'll get back to the promo as I close out today. But I got to get to the story. Right? So a huge part of developing a staff is having this conversation. You got to have this conversation. I'm telling you right now, as a business owner, you have to have this conversation with your staff because it's natural. It's a natural thing for you to go to work, see somebody that you're interested in. See, obviously, you guys are professionally aligned because you're working in the same space, you're working in the same industry. If you're opposite sex and you're somewhat attracted to each other, whether it's the client hooking up with the actual boss or the person that's selling them the stuff, or it's the people that are working together every day in the same industry, it's important that you as an owner have this conversation about what the protocol is when you start to develop a relationship with people that you work with. Because again, like I said yesterday, do I have an issue with Sherrone Moore banging his assistant? I don't necessarily have an issue with that. I don't think any man out there, again, a young 39-year-old man, he just got a head coaching gig. Who knows what he was living through with his wife? Who knows if he was, they lost touch? Who knows what she may have did back in her day or whatever? Again, nobody knows. We're just judging him off this. So is it wrong for him to, see a young Michigan fan, or if he's wrong for that, then Bill Belichick is wrong for hooking up with a New England Patriots cheerleader. Again, nobody's necessarily wrong for that. They're above the girl is an adult now, and she made a conscious decision. What makes him wrong is the hypocritical way in which you went about it, seeing that you're supposed to be a leader of young men. You're the leader of the greatest brand, the greatest program in the entire history of college football, and then you decide to cover it up and hide. And again, the stories are coming out where you got her pregnant, and then you paid for the baby to get off. Again, that's where you become absolutely wrong. You do not know that is. By the way, I'll keep the money out now. Hey, how are you? The size is not there? Oh, you got to drop off? Okay. Well, good seeing you. You caught me in the middle of a lie. All right, where was I? Yeah, so what makes him wrong is the cover-up of it, the attempting to cover up of it. The fact that you are in a committed marriage and you're supposed to be the one advising your players how to protect themselves from getting tripped up by the female.
That's what makes the whole situation wrong. All right, that's what makes the whole situation wrong. So myself, again, and I'll as I get through the article, Mr. Lay, hey, you're gonna get there though. You're gonna get there. You gotta stop for the important stuff. Yeah, I used to do these at the school, but they told me, all right, no, that's it. So anyway, we won't get into that because I'm being recorded live. You guys heard that though. All right. So yeah, but again, I think I did actually do an episode when they told me I couldn't do them at the school. So this guy who I just saw, she's a parent at the school I teach at, and the school is like right up there, not too far from here. So instead of being late, I decide, all right, look, I'll just do it at a local Starbucks because it's again. Let me come back because I'm going to start getting aggravated at the fact that I can't do them at this place. I've been putting my blood, sweat, and tears in and work and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, employee development, which is why I'm your guy for employee development. All right, let's get back, guys. Let's get back. So anyway, here we go. It's hypocritical of him to be doing it while he is running this program, and that's where the issue becomes. So there is a way of controlling lust because, again, if I put myself in Sherrone Moore's shoes, if I see young, her name is not going to be mentioned here, it's not going to be mentioned in court, and it really doesn't matter what her name is, to be honest with you, even though it's all over the internet. What we're going to talk about, and again, if I'm in his shoes, I would probably be as attracted as he was. I understand every man would understand the attraction, but part of that there's a specific process towards controlling your lust, controlling exactly what you feel when you see somebody that is attractive, when you see young, hot, blonde, whatever it is, and you're like, man, she's looking good, and I'm the head of this, and I'm doing this. There's a specific process, a specific way in which you can go about handling your business and controlling these desires to make it so you don't land in the situation that Sherrone Moore landed in. All right. There's a specific way in which we're going to go over today. So let me jump right into the article today. Let me pull this up on the screen here. All right. So Top 5 Tuesday, how to control your lust. And right there, again, obvious reasons why I went with that image, because that's what got him in the news, and he's going to be known more for this than the actual fact that him he was, part of a national championship team, beating Ohio State, the eventual national champions last year, the Reliance Quest Bowl champion. All the things he accomplished up to that point are pretty much going to be done, and he's going to be known for fired Coach Sherrone Moore, charged with stalking and home invasion, rested on Wednesday hours. This right here is what he's going to be known for the rest of his life. Right here. He's not, there's no reconciliation, because this thing has blown up and it's absolutely no way of pulling it back. It's a wrap. His days of being in the public eye and actually somebody leading him and putting him on TV, anything like that, all those days are absolutely through. It's finished. Right? He's finished when it comes to that. So here it is. Yes, I'm still angry, and I wrote this on Saturday. And I was still very, very upset with the whole situation. So still angry, not because of the gossip, not because of the headlines, but because the situation with Sherrone Moore was completely avoidable. It was avoidable, folks. This was very avoidable. It was avoidable. You did not have to go this far with it, all right? It wasn't football IQ. It wasn't about opportunity. It wasn't about pressure. This was about self-control or lack of it. And before anyone questions why I'm qualified, why am I qualified to speak on this? Let me just say it plainly. I spent over 10 years being celibate. There was a point in my life where I was over 10 years of being celibate by choice. Not because I couldn't get a woman, obviously. You look at me, a very attractive guy, all right? And not because I was scared of sex, and anyone that has, again, engaged in that activity with me will confirm that, all right? Don't get it twisted now. Don't get it twisted. You get it done, all right? But because, here's the real reason of why I decided to do that and went as long as I could, or I honestly could have went long and just, situations happened and stuff like that happened, but it wasn't that serious. Because I wanted control over my body, my mind, and my future. Right there is why it happened. So looking back now, it was one of the best decisions I ever made. So when I ask the question, are you in control of your lust? I'm not asking from theory. I'm asking from experience. Why this matters? Obviously. All right. Lust doesn't just ruin relationships. It destroys careers, families, trust, leadership, credibility. Entire organizations are destroyed. And what makes it worse is that we keep pretending that this is rare. This, what happened with Sherrone Moore, is not a rare thing. Actually, let me get this right here that I'm showing you on the screen right now. It's not rare. It's not a rare thing. It happens. Trust me, it happens all the time. In fact, I've been burnt by being the opposite. I've been burnt by being the younger guy that was pursuing a female, and she was getting it on with her boss. That's what I'm telling you right now. I've been the young guy pursuing someone that got burnt by a business owner who decided, hey, look, I'm hiring her and I'm boning her, I'm getting her pregnant and marrying her. That's mine, player. That's mine. And at the end of the day, I can't even be mad. I can't be mad because I personally was pursuing someone, and the owner of the place that she worked at decided, hey, he wanted, he paid for it, and did what he had to do. So this is what I'm saying. This is not a rare thing. What happened with Sherrone Moore is not a rare thing at all. It happens, all right? But yeah, it happens in corporate offices, athletic departments, church. I mean, listen, I've been in situations where churches, the pastor, yes, the preacher was getting it on with his own assistant. Yes, sad stuff, man. This stuff is real. This stuff happens. Startup schools, I don't even have the time. I could do an episode on how it happens in our school system. I could do an episode in itself on all the stuff that went down. And this was just stuff, me being a student, seeing adults in certain situations, they behind closed doors in classrooms, on desks, and table, all kinds of stuff goes on. It happens because, and let me just tell you why it happens. Let me freeze on that point for a little bit. Why it happens is because when you're working, what we have to do as in society, we have to work to get a check. We have to work to get paid. In order for us to live a life, we need to get paid, right? So when you are working in an environment, you spend a lot of time in that environment, and you are going to meet somebody. You're going to get involved with somebody in some type of way, in some type of working relationship, respectfully, non-respectfully. You're going to grow to the point where you dislike several people. Now, I'm speaking from experience. You're going to get to a point where you work so long with somebody that you grow to dislike them to the point where I just actually, before I got on this, I was on the phone with my mother, and I was speaking about people I work with that I genuinely dislike, and she had to cut me off because I can go on tangents about the kind of people that I just do not like when it comes to what I have to deal with. It happens. Relationships will happen when you're at work. It will happen, and you got to be adult enough, you got to be grown enough to deal with it and still get what you need to get out of the situation, right? So here we go. Anywhere there's power, access, and silence, lust will test people. That's the key. The lust is going to test you and test what you're about. It brings in that right there, brings in the top 5 Tuesday. All right, so top 5 Tuesday. How do you control your lust? Very first thing you got to do, you have to exercise daily. Your daily exercise is absolutely the most important thing you can do. And I'm not talking about BS. You go to a gym and you just talk all the time. I'm talking about cardio, difficult exercise, things that are going to challenge you. All right. So yes, here we go again. As one talking about exercise. This is very, very important. All right. Daily cardio workouts, not just lifting and socializing and just sort of chopping it up and hanging with your buddies. Not scrolling between sets, not going to a gym just to look cute and match and try to sort of be in there. Just say you have a gym membership. I'm talking about real conditioning, running, long walks, cycling, stair work, high effort hit, high intensity training, all right, high intensity interval training, cardio that demands recovery and nutrition. Hard cardio humbles you. It burns off active energy. And here's the truth. All right, here's where I want to get you guys. Most men don't say this loud. So again, I will say the loud part. I will say the quiet part out loud. The better your cardio is, the better your sex life is going to be anyway. Stamina transfers, control transfers. Lust may still show up, but it won't run the show. When you actually know what you're doing, when you actually have some stamina, actually are out there working out every day, and you do the cardio, you do the challenging workouts, you actually get good in the bedroom. All right, you actually know what the hell you're doing. I know this from experience. I run every morning. Okay, I know based on my performance in the bedroom, based on my lifestyle, I can tell you from experience, you actually know what the hell you're doing, and you have women who want to have sex with you. If you don't do that, if you don't do the work, if you don't put in the work, no one's gonna want you anyway. And you start settling for stuff, and it becomes just the boring. Not again. We're gonna get to that point. It just becomes boring stuff that you don't even look forward to it. You don't want that life. Exercise is absolutely the number one thing that you can be doing if you want to control your lust, because now you get to charge a premium on your stuff, right? It's almost like you're the Louis Vuitton, you're the Gucci, the Fendi, the Prada, and the other folks who don't do it, they're the little cheap stuff that you buy at Marshalls, right? They're the cheap little bags that you get here and there. You want to be premium when it comes to that, right? You want to be the Lamborghini. You want to be out there just getting it done. So where people desire you, they want you. They start craving your energy, start craving what you're all about. That's the kind of lust you want. That's what you have to do. And daily exercise is absolutely daily, real hard cardio exercise is what's going to do it. All right. Next thing. Again, breaking down the top 5 ways to control your lust. Next thing you got to do. Here we go. And this is big. Because a lot of people don't understand the feeling of this. Is you got to commit to something that is bigger than yourself. Commit to something that's bigger than you. This is the part of the Sherrone Moore situation that angers me the most. When you truly are committed to something bigger than yourself, a family, a program, a mission, a legacy, it should stop you from making reckless decisions. You should not get that reckless. All right. Now, I'm not a Michigan alumni. I'm just I'm a super fan. I'm a super fan of the program. All right. But here's what happened from Thursday when it dropped all the way Friday. Thursday night when it dropped, Friday on. If I'm not mistaken. Yeah, Thursday all the way through Friday to now. Look at the reaction from the Michigan alumni alone. Just go online, search it, right? Anybody that it truly wears the navy and gold, the block him and actually went through it and was there in Ann Arbor and all that kind of stuff. The reaction from the alumni alone, that's not just a job. That's a responsibility. They have been heartbroken. Everyone from Rich Eisen to Taylor Luan to there's a couple of them that David Cohen. I watched a lot of David Cohen, and I think it's Jake. But there's a lot of people who went through Michigan. Adam Scheffner, he had a ton of them. Even Jim Harbaugh, even Coach Jim Harbaugh, who's the head coach for the Chargers, he got asked about it. Who brought Sherrone Moore in, and he said it. You could see it in his face. You could see the distraught in his face. He's like, I'm still processing this. This is crazy to do. Still processing it. Just look at the reaction from the Michigan alumni alone, and it's absolutely heartbreaking. All right. Not just a job, that's a responsibility. Yes, the woman involved was attractive. If it is the woman that's online, again, we're not going to put her name out there or anything like that. It's not a debate. She was very attractive. Again, if I'm a 39-year-old man and I just got a head coaching job in Michigan, I'm tapping that ass too. I'm just being a little more responsible when I tap that ass. But you better believe I'm at least thinking about it and figuring out how to get myself in a situation where I'm laying the pipe on that. For sure. He gonna be at you, dog. I ain't gonna act like I'm better than Jerome in terms of that. Any man, 39-year-old young with a man, again, if you get a chance to swing at that, do your thing, but just make sure you do your thing in the right way. You can't just go around boning stuff and not use it for all that kind of stuff, right? So the question is whether the commitment was strong enough to say this moment isn't worth everything I do. So again, I'm head coach in Michigan. I have this great brand, this great office, this great opportunities, great alumni base, all the resources anyone can ask for. You have to ask yourself the question, I can lose all of this because of this matter? Like, I mean, you just have to ask yourself that question. And maybe his answer was yes. And maybe that's why he continued to do it. Who knows? Who knows what exactly she was for him, right? So if lust keeps winning, it's usually because there's nothing meaningful holding you in place. So maybe it became something for him that just wasn't meaningful enough for him, and he decided, hey, I'm gonna do something that's gonna mess it up. All right. Number 3, the big one in which I make sure I discuss it, or I say it to as many young people as I can, because I've been there with multiple women. Don't let sex become monotonous. Do not let it become something that it's just something that just simply happens. I ask the question often, especially the young men who brush their teeth, who tied their shoe, who got dressed. When sex starts feeling like those activities where it's just like a walking up, like just brushing your teeth, tying your shoe, automatic, expected, transactional, it absolutely loses its meaning, and it is an ugly, ugly, ugly place to be with when you're in a relationship with someone, and that part of it has run its course, right? When it's run its course, and you as a person that you need variety, you need something new in your life. When you allow that thing to turn into just a day, just waking up every morning, it sucks. It sucks. It's the worst. The worst. And anyone that's been there with someone can absolutely understand what I'm saying. It's worse. I've lived this more than once. Sex becomes routine instead of intentional. When it stops being intentional, when it stops being something that you've earned with somebody, you've earned that opportunity, you've earned their right for them to give their body to you and all that kind of stuff. Lust grows louder and louder, and the respect just fades. You just stop giving a shit. All right, sex should be connected to effort. It should be intimate and building or maintaining something real. Building or maintaining something real. Hear me right here. Building or maintaining something real. When it's just chasing orgasms and discipline disappears. When that's all you're chasing, it disappears, because these things right here you can get on your own. This right here you can get on your own. Both men and female, you can get on your own. So if it's something that you can get on your own, what good is the other person? To be 100% honest, what good is the person? The person is no good at this point. It really isn't, unless they're helping you develop in some other areas of your life, and you are growing outside of what that is. All right, brings me to my next point: radical honesty. Really harsh honesty, harsh truth is what's going to get you to a place where you can control the lust. All right, let me read this out loud and I'll react to it. All right, this one's very simple, but it's powerful. Be honest about who you're attracted to, who you would sleep with, right? Who you wouldn't. I've worked in environments dominated by women. Again, I can speak on this because I've been in several environments that have been dominated by women, whether it is fitness, whether it's education, whether it's athletics, doesn't matter. Been in several of these environments. And when those conversations start, because again, a lot of women don't want to admit this when men are around, but I've been privy to a lot of it. When their conversations start, they go deep. What surprised even me, again, when you're talking about somebody, you are listening to someone that has been in football locker rooms, right? Men talking this, like disgusting things that we as men talk about. It doesn't even compare. I'm telling you, I want to give you all some context here, okay? Man, I am a man that has been in football locker rooms talking about some of the most provocative, disgusting things you can possibly imagine. It does not even compare to some of the things that these ladies talk about when they get together and they start really getting into their conversations. Oh my goodness. It's different. It's a different beast, man. The absolute different beast. And when it comes to just being honest, that's what kind of created this in me, to where I know I got to keep my stuff together, dog. You don't want to be one of them dudes that get really roasted in a women's only conversation. I'm gonna just leave it at that. You don't, like, in an honest dialogue amongst women, you don't want to be one of them dudes that don't got your shit together. Straight up. You don't want to be one of them dudes that is a, now when I say get your shit together, I don't mean you gotta be, quadruple millionaire and you gotta have all sorts of resources. No, I'm not talking. I'm talking about, are you striving for greatness? Are you striving to be somebody great? Are you striving with whatever happens to you in life, whatever resources you have available to you, you're just making the best of what you have. If you're doing those things, you're good. But if you're not, and you're getting you still ain't performing in the bedroom, and they find out, what? Man, it hurts. It's gonna hurt, because you won't know they're so good at keeping that to themselves. They're so good at keeping that conversation, that discussion amongst women. And by the time you find out as a man, you kind of like, whoa, I didn't really know that. All right, I'm telling you what I know. Been there, been around the block. I'm telling you what I know. All right, they go deep, and clarity keeps you from lying to yourself about who you want and who you're settling for, and who doesn't belong in your life romantically. This is something I have struggled with. I just had, and I'm not allowed. I don't have her permission to put her name out there, But for the sake of this, we're going to, until I get her permission to put her name out there, we're going to call her Pocahontas. I had a damn near 5-hour conversation with Pocahontas. Again, we're going to refer to her as Pocahontas because you guys don't know who that is as of yet. But I had a 5-hour conversation with her, and I was discussing a situation with my ex, and she looked me straight in the eye and said, as one, you actually never wanted to marry her. You actually loved all of the things that were around her, but the specific person that you were thinking about being with, you didn't want that person. And I couldn't argue her point. I could not let it, I'd say you're right, because we kind of asked each other why I wasn't married, why she wasn't married. Again, a conversation that I will bring to you guys at some point when I do have her permission to reveal everything, but I don't have her permission to say something right now. She's just Pocahontas, and it could be anybody. If she's listening, she knows who she is, but if you're listening, you probably don't know what the hell I'm talking about when I call the person Pocahontas, right? We'll leave it at that. So, honest conversation. At the end of the day, it was an honest conversation, and it goes right back to what it is. Number 4 is you have to create a structure of honesty around you, a framework, a group of people that are going to keep it all the way a buck with you, all the way 100 with you. If you don't have that, then you start believing certain lies about you that you tell yourself, and things won't happen in the way that are going to be positive for you to happen. All right. Finally, number 5. I know I went over there, but this was a big story around here. It's a big story, especially considering that I'm such a huge fan of the program and the work I do is a huge story, right? So if you slip, and we all been there, it's gonna happen. Life's life, hey, something happens, life, right? Let's not pretend discipline is perfect. It's not perfect. Where no one's sitting here. I'm not gonna stand here on my own. I slipped up. I've messed up on multiple nights, multiple occasions. I have done it. Right? Done it. We've been there. No one's judging. There's nights where you drink too much, your urges get too loud, your judgment slips. Use some damn protection. Okay? Use some protection. All right? If there's a night where it slips and hey, look, life happens, use some protection. What's wrong with using some protection? Find some. Don't, Jet. I mean, especially if we're talking about the Sherrone, you got access to whatever it is you need to have access to. Use some protection. If it does happen, if you do have a night where it gets to the point where you just have to have it, be very careful and be responsible in terms of what it is you're doing. Use some protection. All right, that's it. Wrap that puppy, man. Wrap it. Then shut it down. Don't try to hide it. Don't try to pay people off. Don't judge. Don't dodge responsibility. That cowardly behavior destroys life. That's what right here is what made it worse. Right here is what made it worse, because you tried to dodge it and act like this didn't happen. All that stuff. So, final word again. Lust ended more legacies than lack of talent ever has. You've heard the phrase, C is undefeated. I'm trying P word. I'm saying like that. P word, Pussyi word is undefeated. It's undefeated. It's undefeated. They are going to ruin people. They ruin people. And in many ways, ladies, DICK is undefeated too. For you all, it's the same thing. It's just undefeated. It's ruined more legacies than lack of talent ever has. This isn't just a personal issue, it's a leadership issue, right? It keeps repeating because too many organizations, this is what happens. Too many organizations refuse to invest in real employee development, real dialogue, real conversation like this for pressure of temptation and responsibility, not just performance. So main website, again, all things employee development, it's makeyourmove.com. And the reason stuff like this happens, right here, I'm going to end with this. The reason stuff like this happens is because not enough companies are making the investment in employee development, and you have got to make that investment. Got to make that investment, or you leave yourself susceptible to seeing all these things happen. All right. So again, main website to check out, to dive deeper into everything I'm about. Make sure you get a copy of Wintrepreneur and all the other books, all the other goodies that we have here on Make Your Move Shop, makeyourmove.com/shop, makeyourmove.com, makeyourmove.com. The one-stop shop for all your teamwork and your self-development needs. As one coach, and your one and only, Move Swiftly. So you can check it out. You guys continue to move swiftly. We will talk more soon.